Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory, and on this episode, we are going to be diving into stepping up our productions for reinforced iron plate and maybe some modular frames, and then whatever else we have time for as we expand to our next level on our base. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into it. Well, first things first, as we move along with our construction here, is we've pretty much done this floor. Of course, we've got our bottom floor, which is the majority of our ingot manufacturing, and then we've got our iron manufacturing and copper manufacturing right up above it. Now we need to step up another layer here, and we need to be working on the reinforced iron plate and the modular frames. Modular frames, of course, require the reinforced iron plate. What are we looking for a total on those? The modular frames, I'm pretty sure we only need 14, not quite, we need like 12 and a half per minute of the modular frames. And that can be done with 7 assemblers, which gives us a little bit of overflow of 1.5 per minute overflow. So we're definitely going to be able to make enough of what we need of those. So that's what we're going to be focusing on is, getting to that phase. But of course, to get to that phase, we've got to make the reinforced plate. So let's start by building up our next level of the flooring here and go from there. Okay, so I've extended up our platform here from the lower production level, which is all of the constructors that we've got. On this level here, we're going to get started with the reinforced iron plate. Now, the reinforced iron plate, we need to have 8 assemblers because our total production that we're going to need, we're looking for a goal of 37 reinforced iron plate per minute. Well, 8 constructors will get us 40 reinforced iron plate per minute. So that gives us a little bit of overflow. So I'm going to get those assemblers set up here, and we'll get the 8 of them done. And I think I'm just going to set them all up in a row, and then we'll be able to feed everything in that we need to have on them. So let me get those all in place. All right, so I have the assemblers here all placed down for making our reinforced plate. What gets tricky with when you start getting into the assemblers and the manufacturers is the multiple input lines. The multiple input lines, of course, then increase our logistics that are required to be able to make the system run. So as you can see here, each one of these machines is dual input. One's going to be for plates, the other is for screws. So we need to be able to find a neat and organized way to be able to handle that. And of course, I'm doing that all above ground here, so it's visible and you can see everything that's happening. We could run with a logistics line that goes down below here, but I've been kind of, trying to maintain the majority of the build structure and everything above the floor, so you can actually see kind of what's happening as it's building, because I'd really like to have that visual representation for my builds. So that's how I've got this set up. So I've got the iron plate line runs in. It's the first input on each one of these assemblers that's here. And then I have a Mark V. I'm used to using Mark V conveyors and everything, and just normal splitters in here, just to move the materials down. And that's all on the lower, basically, I'm going to call it the lower level of logistics that goes into the first input of each of these machines. So then what I'm going to call like the upper level or the second input of these machines is our screw intake. It's going to go in here, and then it loads in, and then it just does, I'm using these elevators to kind of hop over the existing conveyor to avoid any clipping or anything that's happening. And that will feed our screws into the assemblers so that we can get our reinforced iron plate out of these assemblers. So yeah, and that just continues on down here. The last one of these, each is a programmable splitter that I then have set up with the end line is overflow, so that this line can continue on to be able to feed materials elsewhere. So we only need 240 iron plate, so there's going to be a little bit of leftover that's here, and then we only need 480 screws, and we're going to be bringing up a line of 780. So that's why I've got this, sorry about the little fast camera swing there. That's why I've got this overflow line here is for the 480 that are getting used in here, it still leaves 300 that can go off to manufacture something else. So we're going to be continuing these lines along so that we're getting the most out of our manufacturing on these. So next, I got to get the screws up here, and then I got to power these up, and then I have to put the logistics in place for the outbound side of these assemblers, and then have that stuff going into a storage container to be used for later production. All right, everything is now powered up and making our reinforced plate. So I have them all coming down on a conveyor system that's going through. I have a priority line going into this storage container. Once the storage container is full, then it shifts to an overflow environment where we can feed off this line to the rest of the production, which will be making the modular frame. So now I just have to wait for this storage container here to fill up. It's going to take a while because we are only making, what did I say we were making? Like 200 and, so let me just see, how much are we actually making? No, we're only making 40 per minute actual production on these. I might actually knock this down to the smaller container. I think that's going to make more sense rather than having a great big storage container there. So I'm just going to go into our organization here, grab the small storage container, and I'm going to slap that down. Because I don't think I need to store a full double storage container worth of these materials. Let's go into our logistics. Let's grab our Mark V conveyors, which I know we don't need Mark V conveyors. I know that this is overkill, but I'm just using it so everything's all kind of running at the same speed. So that is what we're doing there. And then, of course, on this here, because I want to kind of maintain that same visual representation to be able to see what's stored in those, I'm just going to grab a couple of conveyors like this real quick, and then a Mark I conveyor that just goes down into the dirt here. And we will eliminate this here and replace our floor. Oop. Oh, I did it again. Every once in a while I get like click happy with what I'm doing, and I end up replacing the item on my hotbar. I don't know if anybody else does that. Sound out in the comments if you guys do that same thing as well too, where you accidentally replace items on your hotbar because you start pressing numbers thinking that you're out of the menu and you're not really out of the menu yet. So we do now have a visual representation of what's coming out of here, which of course is our reinforced iron plate. So that line is complete. So the next phase of this is going to be our modular frames that we need to build. So for this production line, for making the modular frames, we need 7 more assemblers to be able to do that. And from those 7 assemblers, we are going to pull some screws from over here. And how many screws exactly am I going to need for that? I need, no, sorry, not screws. It's iron rods. We need 84 iron rods and 21 reinforced iron plate. Well, we're making 40, so we're okay there on the reinforced iron plate end of things. And 7 assemblers, so we're going to be good. And so what our goal is we want to get 12.5 modular frames per minute. We're actually going to be making 14 modular frames, which gives us a little bit of overflow with them. So that is what I'm going to get set up over here. The only thing is now I need to make sure that I'm leaving myself plenty of room for logistics to be able to handle the materials being moved around and stuff. So that's things that I've got to kind of pay attention to as I'm laying out these next round of assemblers. I've now completed the construction of our modular frame assembly. We've got the assemblers are plugging away here. We have all of our reinforced steel plates or reinforced iron plates. They're getting made here, and I've got a full storage container worth of those now. So that means the entire production line is running down this way as they're being manufactured. And then, of course, they're getting loaded into our assemblers, making the frames. And then if there's any left over, which I want to say I do, went through and I put in some little signs down here to remind me how much I have remaining on the output side of here. And so we have 19 items per minute remaining of our reinforced iron plate. So we've got that all figured out for wherever we need to take this to the next production line. I have also done the same thing over on these production lines too. I've thrown down some signs just as reminders. We've got 40 items per minute remaining on just regular iron plate. We have 300 items per minute on this 780 item per minute line of screws, because 480 of them are getting used on these assemblers here. So now it's time to dive into our next set of construction. I think we'll do one more little series of things getting built here in this episode, and then we'll kind of see where we're at. So the next thing we're going to build, I think, is going to be our rotors, and we need a total of, our goal is 36 rotors per minute, and it's not really going to leave us much in the way of any excess, which I don't know if we're going to need a whole lot of excess. So the exact amount that we need is 9 assemblers, because 9 assemblers will make exactly 36 items per minute for the rotors. So that's going to put us, we're going to need 180 iron rods and 900 screws. Well, we have 300 screws over here right now that we can take, as well as if we whip over here to where the remainder of our screws are, I think I have a production line that's doing 600 screws at one conveyor over here. Let's go have a look and see what we've got, because I did go and put some signs down here. This one is 780 items per minute, and this one here is 600. So if we take this line and that other line over there, we'll be able to slap together our assemblers for making the rotors. Wow, that's a lot of screws that it needs. A total of 900 screws per minute. So, but it is 9 assemblers that we need to work with. So the first 3 I will take from this production line here. We'll bring the screws back around here somewhere. I'm not entirely sure what direction I will bring those, but we'll make sure that we've got the screws here for this next line of production that we've got to do. So I have had just enough room over on this side, and I'm leaving myself lots of room for logistics here so that we can get around to be able to get various conveyors moving products along. For the 9 assemblers are now here, so I'm going to start with bringing the screws in for this, and then we'll work towards getting the iron rods that we need. I was just having a look here before when I was coming over to get started with the screws. I'm like, how many iron rods do I need? I need 180 iron rods per minute. Well, this is leaving us 186 iron rods per minute of excess, which I think 6 was the total. So we're going to be able to take this line here, and we're going to have to find a creative way to move these products back, but it will be able to fall in line here to be able to run this line, and that's going to be absolutely perfect for our assembly. And then, of course, the first 3 assemblers will be able to fill with these screws here. What I think I might end up doing is I might just take an elevator up above this and then shoot it straight across the top of these poles, and then we'll be able to come down to wherever we need to do to get the screws over there. So that's what I'm going to work on. All right, so I have the input logistics all done for our rotors that we've got getting manufactured here, and these are all powered up. I still need to make the output logistics and get it put into a storage container. And we, of course, are still waiting for some of the materials and stuff to kind of build up and start storing in here, because I know that I've got it set as overflow down here for the iron rods, so it's basically waiting for this production line to finish filling up. I might change this from overflow to any. I think that might be, it'll just, I think, help with the flow of everything, because I don't think it should have to only dedicate itself to here, because I know I have enough iron rods per minute coming up here to be able to facilitate this whole line. So rather than it having to shut off the output on these, I think we'll just equally distribute the output on this. So I could probably replace this one with a normal splitter, but I will leave it for now, just because I don't want to tear it out and put in a new splitter, because then I gotta fix the conveyors and stuff. So it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna work away. And so now I just got to get the output logistics done and get the storage set up for our rotors. Alrighty, I have the output logistics all done. And again, we've got it being stored into this storage container here. This, of course, the storage container is the priority line for us to be able to swing by and grab some rotors as we need them. And then the overflow line, which will be set up because once this container is full, the rest of it can go out to the main manufacturing facility for anything that we need rotors for. And it is labeled here at 36 items per minute. So if we end up taking some of this out of here, because we actually are going to need 36 items per minute of the rotors in our production line, if we take from this, it will end up causing a pause in the rest of our production line. But, you know, we'll be only grabbing a stack at a time, so it won't take terribly too long, because we're making 36 items per minute, so within a few minutes, this is going to be all filled back up again if we take one stack at a time. And we're not going to need much more than one stack at a time. So what have we got done in the assembly section here now? If we go back and we look at what we have built here, we have our reinforced iron plate manufactured and set into storage. That reinforced iron plate is getting used over here in our modular frame construction. And then it is, of course, being dumped into a storage container just over there for future use, because of course we're not using the modular frames for anything right now. Then we have our rotor assembly section over here. So we're making great use of the conveyor systems. We've got great logistics in here. It's not overly difficult to kind of follow where things are happening. We've got a perfect equal distribution of we've 100% used a 780 item per minute screw line, as well as coming in over here, there is a 600 item per minute screw line, which still leaves us a full conveyor of 780 items per minute of screws for any future manufacturing that we're going to be doing. So, of course, I got to AFK here for a while now and let this all completely build up so that everything is all stockpiled, because of course, with everything that's running down here, if we look down here, we have a bunch of iron things that are all being manufactured down here and all fired up. So we've got plate construction happening, we got rod construction happening, we got screw construction all happening, because of course we're pulling from these plants. So that means if we go down another level down here, we have various iron productions over here that are also grinding away and building more iron ingots for us. So you're actively seeing each of the floors contributing to the manufacturing in our mega factory here for our end game goals. So with that all said, I think this is where we're going to call this episode. It's a little bit shorter episode this time, but things are getting a tiny bit more complicated as we go forward with our manufacturing. So reach down, hit that like button on the video, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you can be notified when we are live. You can also follow me over on Instagram and Twitter, and most recently TikTok as well, because I am uploading small videos every time I upload a new video on YouTube. I'm throwing one up on TikTok as well. So it's just another means of notifications as we continue through our Mega Factory build. So with that said, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and we will see you in the next one.